Hey, welcome back to Fake Deep Thinking. Bunch of group of guys sitting down talking about news, culture, and sometimes, yes, politics. We
You know
missed y'all
what's
last week
crazy?
because we. What do you say?
The intro used to be a group of guys talking about a bunch of books.
We came a long way from there. We came a long way from there. But we missed y'all last week because y'all had a bit of a. I don't know if it was emergency, but just had
Not
some.
emergency, just serious, if you will.
Yeah, some
Important.
stuff
There you
going.
go.
Yeah, something very important to take care of that he had to be there. They were present for and responsible for, and all that kind of stuff. Responsibilities, accountability, adult things, boyfriend things. So we're back with some. Well, it's a holiday, so it's nothing too controversial. We want to ease into it, but there has been some controversial things happen this past couple weeks that we will get into, and one of them is kind of controversial, but it's funny, and we'll talk about that after this first topic. So the first one we're going to talk about is some updates in the Jonathan Majors case. So I pulled up a article from NBC News that kind of highlights what happened, and then it has a timeline of like the court cases and everything, and some updates. So I'll read real quick like what happened, and then scroll to the bottom to where it gives us the update of why this is kind of circling around the news again. So in the last 5 years, Jonathan Majors has been one of the most promising actors in Hollywood with Creed 3 and Marvel films weighing on his back and a perennial place on a list ahead. Or as John would say, inward of the month. Can you say it for me, John? John, say it for me. I don't want to get canceled.
The nigga of them all.
Thank you, sir. Then Majors and his ex girlfriend accused each other of assault, and he found his world dominated by courtroom drama. Majors has denied the allegations, and the district attorney declared that the allegations against his ex girlfriend lack prosecutorial merit. I think I'm saying that wrong. Prosecutorial merit. The allegations between Majors, 34, and his ex girlfriend Grace Jabari, 30, have played out in public, leading to a pause in his rapid rise to superstardom and drawing questions about his character at a time when American institutions say they are trying to take allegations of abuse more seriously. The case pits his future. He faces the possibility of a year behind bars if convicted, but Hollywood's sentence could be longer against a backdrop of hashtag believe women. I don't know why I quote believe women, I hashtag quote believe women. The movement that seeks to take allegations of sexual and domestic abuse, mostly against men, at face value. Jabari, a British choreographer and dancer, is in the midst of a fight that could resonate even wider by providing another successful case in the war against abuse or by providing fodder for those who seek to discredit, quote, believe women. Majors was arrested March 25th in New York City on allegations he choked, assaulted, and harassed her in the New York City Police Department said at the time. Subsequent charges stemmed from the alleged incident early that morning. Majors pleaded not guilty to all counts and accused Jabari of attacking him. Following that dispute in the Chelsea neighborhood of Manhattan, she was taken to a hospital with, quote, minor injuries to her head and neck, police said. The altercation started in a town car, prosecutors said. Jabari grabbed Major's phone after seeing a text she believed was from another woman. They said. The text said, quote, wish I was kissing you right now, according to prosecutors. Majors responded by pulling her finger, twisting her arm behind her back, and striking her face in an attempt to get the phone back. The driver stopped and the pair got out, but Majors threw her back in, officials said. The duo parted ways, with Majors staying in a hotel but returning hours later, prosecutors said. I feel like I'm repeating that phrase a lot. Prosecutor said, prosecutor said, prosecutor said. Jabari said she fell asleep, but when he returned home, he said he thought she had tried to commit suicide and was unconscious as a result, according to the prosecution. Majors called 911 to report what he said was the attempt, but when an operator asked him what exactly happened to Jabari, he said, I don't know. According to a recording of the call released by the court, police responded. Majors, who was raised in Lompoc, California, am I saying that right? Lompoc, California? Never heard of that place, and educated in part at Yale University, seemed on his way to becoming one of the film industry's tent-pole talents. I've never heard that phrase either. Tent-pole. Those it relies on for box office gold. He starred in 2019 independent films, blah, 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 blah. In the wake of the arrest and charges, Deadline reported that Majors was pulled from consideration for at least 2 film projects. U.S. Army recruiters pulled an ad featuring the actor, and according to Variety, he was dropped by his talent manager and public relations manager. And that's basically the backstory summary of everything that happened. Let's skip through all the way to the end, because obviously stuff happened till the end. So December 18th, December 14th, case goes to jury. So the jury does not reach a verdict by Friday afternoon and is ordered by the judge to deliberate into the following week. December 18th, jury reaches a verdict. On Monday afternoon, a jury found Johnathan Majors guilty of 2 counts: assault in the 3rd degree and harassment in the 2nd degree. His sentencing date is September 6th. So I don't think we talked about this before. I don't remember if it was Doc or John who originally asked if we should talk about this when it first aired. Do you guys remember if we talked about this or not? I don't think we did.
I think we brought it up, but I think we decided to wait until there was an actual verdict because we didn't have all the info.
Okay. So now that we got a little more info and read the backstory, my initial comment is she assaulted him too. Is she not like... I understand that he probably was... I think when it comes to domestic violence, especially when it's mutual, it's very hard to handle these cases because, biologically speaking, men are stronger. So therefore, his retaliation or his whatever, if you want to use the word retaliation, just his assault period,
that's the only place they're gonna admit that men and women are different. Men are stronger in court when it's against you.
Because because from my understanding, because I don't look into this, my assumption was how it sounded through the news articles that were surfacing when it first happened was he was just an abuser. He abused her, sexual, whatever, like all this stuff. Like he was just a bad man, right? Now you're reading this and it's like, sounds like they had a domestic, like a relationship dispute. It got out of hand. They both hit each other, and it shouldn't have gone as far as it did, but they both hit each other. So
it's only the one incident.
I'm sorry?
It's only the one incident.
It seems like there's only one incident, because if there was a history of abuse, I'm pretty sure they would have laid out the timeline of a history of abuse. They have no problem doing that, and they've done that in the past with other articles we've read regarding similar topics. So the fact that they haven't addressed that makes me assume, because I generally don't know, assume that it doesn't have a history.
Well, from the video I saw, there was like a breakdown on like CNN or something like that, and they had a guest lawyer who was at the trial. He got convicted for reckless assault, which is like when you're just like seeing red and you're just like, attacking. But he doesn't agree with that because in the state of New York, you're able to use force to get your property back. And so the video that they used that was like the damning evidence was that I don't think she ever assaulted him. I think she took his phone and then he exerted force to take it back. But that's protected.
But let's just so through the video, can you tell that she didn't assault him, or was there not enough footage in the video to tell? Like
it wasn't stated that like she assaulted him. You know what I mean? So there's no like. Well, actually, I think that it is a little bit of more of a gray zone because there's a part where he reaches in. You can see him. He's actually using force to try to get his phone back. And then he gets it back and he's leaving and she runs after him and he picks her up and he puts her back in the car and tries to close the door and run away. And then she runs out of the vehicle and he ends up running and she's chasing after him. So I don't know if at any point in that, like she hit him and then there's assault on that case, but he's definitely aware. So that's why he didn't get convicted of the intentional assault charge. He got convicted of the reckless one, which I agree with the guest lawyer, where he used force to get back his property, which is legal again by the state. So I don't think he should have gotten that. The other harassment charge that he was convicted of was like mental abuse. And I don't think like I've seen an article that puts it out that he what he did, but from one of the articles from what I saw, he fed her a lot of info. Like he would tell her, and this is supposed, like I don't know for sure. He would tell her like, I'm a great man and I'm going to be a great man, so you have to live up to my standard. And like he would kind of just
so he was arrogant.
Yeah, he was arrogant.
So you can be sued for arrogance.
That's another weird thing too that I didn't think about. But the thing that I kind of considered is that when this first happened, a lot of people actually came out saying that he had this this abusive mentality. Like people who have worked with him have said that he has this like alpha male like domineering mentality for it.
Can I pause real quick? Oh no, I'm sorry. Finish your thought. Sorry.
And so with him, kind of, I guess the court, since they didn't put it in documentation or release it yet, but like if they have evidence that he's been feeding her stuff, like if they took out her texts and then they're able through the text to see that, yeah, he's actually been like essentially like abusing her by forcing her into a situation where she's just mentally taxed by the guy, then that was the harassment charge that he got convicted on.
I don't like that.
I'm not really a big fan of that, but I don't think you should be able to charge him with mental abuse unless he forced her stopped her from leaving. Like the the not factor in the fact that she wanted to stay to benefit off of who he was, and so like there's a space there where it's like, yeah, you don't need to be treated that way, but you also don't have to be with me. But you're choosing to be with me. So like, as arrogant and narcissistic as he's coming across, if he's saying that, now hear me out. If they were in a relationship prior to his fame, and then there was a change, and then he's now demanding these things from her, like live up to my standard, I don't agree. But if they met after some of his fame was acquired or whatever, like that's who you met. That's who you're dating.
I think it genuinely depends on what he actually said. Like you said, like if he put her in a position where she's fucking like locked up, you know what I mean? Like mentally, like if he had her like locked in, like there had to be something damning in the text to get to that point.
Honestly, either that it has. Honestly, I agree with John said. It has to be on the lines of blackmail then, because I really think we're being way too loose, if that's the way to phrase it, with this whole mental trapping or this mental abuse thing. Because honestly, I think it's too vague. What exactly is mental abuse? Based off what you just read, simply being an arrogant narcissist is mental abuse. That's wild. That's not mental abuse, because like John said, and I 100% agree with him, why didn't you leave? That means you like the mental abuse then in that case, because you have the capacity as an adult to leave.
Well, I think it depends. Like that's why John even said it depends if he wouldn't let her leave. Like, what if she was like, "Oh, I'm not gonna take this shit," and he kept texting, and then like he kept kind of like pushing himself onto it.
But the problem is he tried in this specific. I don't know if this is a good characterization of the entire relationship because we don't know. But in their disputes, where emotions are high, and usually when emotions are high and you're acting reactionary, you get more of your true. I won't say your true self, but things slip. And in that moment of high emotion, he was the one fleeing and she was the one chasing. In my biased, uneducated opinion, that's indicative that he wasn't keeping her trapped. She chose to be in the situation.
Like I said, I feel like the texts have to be put out for us to really make a solid judgment on it. Because I agree with the objectivity of it. I mean, the subjectivity of it.
Yeah, I don't. Personally, I don't.
Well,
you're talking about mental entrapment for the whole relationship versus just this unique scenario.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying. But like what I was saying is like it's subjective, like it's interpretational. That's what I'm telling you, or that's what I'm agreeing with. But that's what I'm saying. Like there had to be something really damning over the extended period of them being in a relationship together for them to find that as like a viable charge, in my opinion.
But the reason why I'm not leaning on that there had to be argument is because that means you're leaning on their understanding. And my problem with subjective things like this is if I don't know it, I'm not willing to lean. I'm not willing to make that lean because it's too subjective. And especially in the liberal ass state as New York or California, anything in their mind can be assault. Anything can be a mental abuse. Anything can be literally anything. So it's too. I just think it's too weak. I think they're steering a narrative to formulate this concept that he was this mental abusive boyfriend that was over domineering on her and so mentally abusive to her. I think they're trying to the lawyers, the prosecutors are trying to frame it that way. And and people are buying it, and I personally am not. It might be the case because you're right. We need to see the text to make this proper assumption, but I'm not going to take their word on it if I can't see the text message, because New York and California specifically are notorious for framing narratives to justify their argument. And
But I mean, to that argument, like, it's his own fault then for living in New York. Like,
you're right. You're fair. Yeah,
like,
completely fair. Yeah, exactly. Completely fair.
I do think actually that he's definitely self-aware. Like, he definitely knows I've got the brink of like a big time movie, deal and everything like that. And I definitely think that explains why he runs from the situation. And he's like, I need to keep you here and I need to go. And so I definitely don't agree he intentionally attacked her. Even the reckless assault, I'm kind of like, I don't know about that. The only thing I can think of was like, they had to have read something, man, for it to land that last one.
So, I mean, obviously we're talking about what we don't know as far as like what are the text messages or whatever. So let's kind of go back to what we do know. And my question to you guys would be, what should he have done
For
the charges? Like,
well, based
in
off
that scenario,
what we know, well, I'm not sure if
on the video.
The problem is the video and what their the timeline that they allege, you can't see all of it in the video. So we got to take a little bit of the what they say happened at face value and then try to equate that to the video we've seen. So based off what we've read, she saw basically cheating in the phone, evidence of cheating, which I honestly believe. Let's be honest, like, man probably was cheating. I'm not gonna say wasn't. Probably was cheating. She had a reaction. We don't know if that reaction was her hitting him or her taking the phone or a combination of the two, but she had a reaction. And then his reaction was something on par with her reaction, which you get to the video, which is them having a little bit of a dispute, him separating himself from her, then her chasing him. That's what we know. Based off that, it's hard to say. I'm not going to sit here. Well, I think there's a difference. I'm going to keep in context that's his girlfriend. If my girlfriend hits me, I'm not going to hit her back. I don't care how mad she gets or how mad I get. Like, that's just a line I've never crossed. I won't hit. But I will assert myself. I have hit a girl, but not like smacked her or punched her. I mean, a girl was like being a little bit too handsy with me, like squeezing me, twisting my skin, scratching me, and I had to let her know to stop. She wouldn't stop, and I took a backhand to her stomach as hard as I could. And I told her, don't do that. So I use that as an example.
Continue.
I'm sorry?
Did she continue?
Of course she didn't.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I thought you said continue, and I was like, what the fuck?
No, he was asking, like, did that do what
yeah. But I thought he just said continue. Like, I was like, you want him to elaborate more? Like, it's pretty definitive. Like, what the fuck?
How else did you hit this?
So, and I say that because I'm trying to say that sometimes, not as a guy, but as a human, it's hard not to react to something physically done to you physically. Like, if someone physically reacts to you, like, it's hard not to physically react back. It's very hard. But as a man, you got to learn to temper your responses. We've talked about this before on similar topics. Like, if your girlfriend is known for being a little bit too handsy with you and she's slapping you and punching you, don't slap her or punch her back, but maybe give her a strong hit in the stomach, the thigh, or fuck it, the ass or something. I don't know. Let her know that, hey,
anywhere that leaves a bruise, not worth it.
fair. Everything that was a bruise. Honestly, hitting is not worth it because as we're seeing in this court, she did some assaulting too. Like, it's hard for me to accept that she didn't assault him. Granted, we don't know because the video footage doesn't show how it started, and we got to take what the witness accounts and all the other stuff at face value. I can't imagine her. Most women, if you catch your man cheating, there's a red that women see, and a lot of them want to put hands on their boyfriends. Not all of them,
cheating.
but I'm sorry.
Unless they're cheating too.
Unless they're cheating too, and
well,
even
I feel like that's what culminated into the mental charge. Because if it is true that there's like a sequence of like, I don't know, like mental molding, like he's sending her these texts, and she has to be this kind of woman, she has to do these things for him, and because of his value and all that stuff like that. And he's kind of, pushing her through these grooves, and then she sees a text and maybe like she's been abiding all of that bullshit, and then she sees a text that he's actually cheating, the woman's fucking switch is probably gonna flip, and it's probably what happened.
That's not mental abuse, though. I refuse to accept that. Now we can sue people for being players. Like, I played a girl. I can be sued for playing girls? That's wild.
That's not mental abuse. But on the other hand, too, that would give credence to the fact that she probably assaulted him first, because her switch was flipped first.
Yeah, I do also think with that, and that's why I kind of get his countersuit about the situation. Because yeah, like I mean, she probably lost her mental first.
And he should sue her for everything she's worth, because the amount of money he's lost out because of this DC Marvel thing, he was going to be a major character.
Yeah. He was a pretty good actor, too. I haven't watched any of his films, but the clips I've seen from some of the films, he seemed like he did a really good job.
He's got a good jawline for acting. You know that Denzel Washington jawline?
He kind of does look a little bit like young Denzel right here.
I don't know. I don't agree with the cheating. I don't agree with high emotions that results in you hitting your significant other, be it a man or a woman. I like. I don't know. I just can't.
Oh yeah, they're no longer together. He's dating Megan Good now.
Interesting. That's very interesting, actually. Only thing that bothers me about this is it seems like it was a mutual domestic violence case, and it's, from my understanding, it only seems like it's one-sided, like it's all on him, and I find issues with that. That's not fair. That's not just.
I honestly don't know though how her suit is going, like the counter suit, because I mean obviously he's the big article, so there might be information that she's also getting something.
I'll probably look at that. I'll look at that. Actually, while y'all talk, I'll see if I can find that.
If he does win the countersuit, do you think there's any way he gets his job back? Or it's done?
No, they've already announced that he's out. Because I think, yeah, he kind of tarnished his image. I honestly think the mental lawsuit is going to be the one that's like, nah, they don't want to work with him.
He was going to be a villain, right?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, he's method acting, I guess.
Get into the realm.
Well, I think the other problem,
the real problem too, is like when stuff like this. I don't know how to say this properly, so I'm just going to say it incorrectly. When stuff like this happens, it's not that there's no credence to it, or there's no that we shouldn't pay attention to it, but like there's real women getting abused in ways that they're going through the proper recourse of like going to court and calling the police and doing all these things, and nothing's being done. Like those aren't getting addressed. But like the famous actor, all of a sudden the court case is expedited. Like we just heard about this. They already are in court. I know somebody who went through something similar, but actually in a physical manner.
I put the link in the Discord. Pull up the link real quick.
I think
it took over a year for them to go to court.
I think they might be at a year, if not 6 months. I do agree though that like they're obviously like the impact of who they are is expediting everything. I kind of also want to say that there's probably money in the background, so it's being pushed. Like those Marvel execs are like, we got to know if we need to push with
hurry up and find out.
Yeah.
All right, so crazy. I found an update for y'all. So not an update, but to answer your question about the countersuit. So right here, Marvel actor Johnathan Majors has filed a domestic violence complaint against ex-girlfriend Grace Jabari, accusing her of scratching and hitting him while she was drunk during a March argument that earned Majors assault and harassment charges. 2 days after actor's June 22nd complaint, the NYPD issued an investigation card that gives cops probable cause to arrest Jabari, a 30-year-old professional dancer, for assault, source told the Post. Priya Chaudhry.
Professional what?
Professional dancer.
What type of dancer?
It elaborated in the previous article, but it's not what you think it is. It's like she's an actual like dancer. Not the pole kind. I think I could be wrong. So-and-so Major's attorney said the NYPD search for Jabari buttresses the lawyer's long-held argument that the Creed 3 actors is the real victim of the pair's stormy relationship. From the beginning, we have said Johnathan Majors is innocent and improvably the victim here. Last week, for the first time, Mr. Majors met with the NYPD to present them with evidence of what really happened on that night, the attorney continued. Within hours of viewing the evidence and conducting their own thorough investigation, the NYPD found probable cause to arrest Grace Jabari for assaulting Johnathan Majors. NYPD spokesperson declined to comment Tuesday, saying only that there had been no more arrests and the investigation was continuing. So basically, yeah, he put a counter.
It's funny that we're wasting hard-earned tax dollars for these two to be petty and keep calling the cops on each other. Like
illegal. Hold on. Okay. Hold on. In legal filings obtained by the Post, Chaudhry said a cab driver claims Jabari attacked Majors. The girlfriend attacked the boyfriend on March 25th while she was trying to nab his phone on the way home. So boom, the cab driver himself said she attacked first.
That's why the cab driver didn't testify.
And he probably
I'm kind
did.
of worried about that too. Yeah, I definitely, actually, like I said earlier, I did definitely disagree with even the reckless charge, because you can tell, at least from the video, he's not being reckless. He's like grabbing her hands and putting her, like, kind of holding her down and being like, get over there, and then he's like trying to like get away from it. Unless the only thing I can think of is the very beginning when he's trying to get his phone back. But that's covered by state law. Like, I don't even think you should get that one. The mental one, like, we honestly need the info to see if the consistency warrants. Maybe there's like a state law that says, like, hey, if you do this, like, you get this punishment.
You can't. That means in the state of New York, you can't defend yourself no matter what.
Yeah, it's a liberal ass state. Yeah, I completely believe that. I'm by my bias, and yeah, 100%. Yeah, 100%. New York sucks. Why would you live in New York? Doc got me that earlier. He's like, yeah, then your argument should why you live in New York. 100%, Doc, he was right. Why the fuck would you live in New York or California? The laws do not benefit you at all. They're made to put you in jail.
If you're there for work, it's inevitable.
That sucks then. I get a different job personally, but hey, everyone's got choices in life.
I'm an actor for Disney Marvel, but I'll just find another job. No, it doesn't work that way.
There's more companies you can work for besides fuck ass Disney, Devil Disney, and Devil Marvel. Like, I'm sorry.
But the recording studios themselves are mostly in New York, Atlanta, and then so it doesn't matter what place you're with. Yeah. But I mean, to that point too, like I said, that means you can't defend yourself at all. And also, like, again, I'm gonna say, I just don't like the fact that they're wasting our tax dollars calling the police on each other. It's just convenient. Like, oh, you called the police on me, I'm in trouble now. I'm gonna call the police on you. Like,
I think also another big issue is that he's potentially, I doubt he's gonna get anywhere near it, but he's potentially looking at a year of incarceration.
That's wild.
Yeah,
that's wild.
Like, we'll know in February when his sentence is let up, but like that's kind of why they fired him.
His month is over. His month is over. That's all. Let's end the topic. His month is over. That's really what happened. His 30-day cycle ended, and they said, "Okay, get him out of here." That's all that's happened here, because this is crazy. Same thing happened with Kevin Hart before he was supposed to host. Was it the Oscars?
Yeah,
the Oscars.
You gotta.
And they wanted him to apologize and keep apologizing.
Yeah.
Yo, but he didn't get thrown in for a year or look at a year.
No. Yeah,
they
but
try to cancel him.
Think about how often we saw Kevin Hart before that.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, his frequency. He had to build it back up. I'm not gonna
lie. I ain't heard of the baby song since.
So real quick, some more information about the cab driver. So apparently I left off from here where he said that she attacked him. The driver also allegedly saw a woman hitting, scratching, and attacking Majors, who asked him to stop the car so he could get out. The driver's story proves Majors didn't hit or choke Jabari in any way at any time or even raise his voice. Johnathan Majors is innocent and has not abused anyone, the attorney claimed. We have provided irrefutable evidence that district attorney that charges are false, blah, blah, blah. Later that night, Jabari was caught by a security camera drinking and clubbing while using her right hand, which she later claimed Majors injured before they separated for the night.
Yeah, they posted pictures of the injuries. It doesn't look that bad. Like, she definitely doesn't have an argument for any kind of like
a toxic woman.
crazy
sounds
abuse.
exactly what it sounds like to me is they had a domestic relationship dispute. He cheated. He got caught. She had a reaction and hit him. We don't know if he responded in kind or not. He might have. Let's just assume he did. He responded and hit her back, and now she's trying to utilize this narrative we have in our country, our society, our culture, whereas believe all women. Oh, women can do no wrong. He's a man. He can don't hit women, and it's working, and it's wild. Like I hope something goes with this countersuit, because if he has to be charged with assault and see jail time, she has to be charged with assault and see jail
Fuck
time.
that. If he is there a possibility for an appeal on the case?
Oh yeah, there's always a possibility for appeal.
Yeah, actually,
So if it
I
gets
don't know.
appealed,
Yeah.
if it gets appealed and he wins the appeal, fuck that movie. I'm suing Disney and Marvel.
I feel like he probably signed a contract that said, if you do some shit,
Isn't the contract null and void if he's not working? You fired me.
it depends on the contract on if they can terminate
Depends on
him
if
for
there's an
whatever reason.
NDA or whatever, but still, you fired me. It's also a wrongful termination. I know
That's
a
not
player in
wrong.
Manchester City who was accused of sexual assault. He wasn't paid his weekly wages for 2-3 years. They refused to sell him. He didn't go anywhere. He just stayed and he fought this court case for 3 full years. You can look his name up, Benjamin Mendy from Manchester City. He's a left back. He got found innocent 3 years later.
He
He's suing
might
them.
be able to. I mean, it is New York, and New York has a lot of more workers' rights. But I'm speaking from the mentality of Texas. In Texas, there's always a clause that says we can do this shit for no reason.
Yeah, I
And
feel that. But also, when is an actor, wouldn't he be part of a union?
maybe.
They were having union issues too. Remember that union strike that the Actors Guild or whatever
That
they
was the
called themselves
writers.
had, or the writer, whatever. I don't know. I generally don't
They
know
have
too
two.
much
They
about
have
it.
two different unions between the writers and the actors.
Gotcha. Okay.
I'm just wondering. There has to be some type of give back for this because I know he lost out on easily $30 million.
Probably
Easily
more.
30 million.
Yeah,
Probably
probably
way
more,
more.
I'm
bro.
trying to be humble.
He lost like
I'm
the
trying to be
next
humble.
2-3 movies and
Yeah.
2-3 movies. You're talking about appearances,
Advertisements and stuff
cameos,
like that. Yep. All that.
everything
Yep.
afterwards too.
merchandise. Oh my God! I ain't gonna lie. I'm putting a hit out.
And I want to
know?
clarify too that we're not trying to defend domestic violence or assault. We're trying to point out that
We
the
don't think he did.
abuse. We don't think. Well, we don't know if he did or not. We're kind of leaning on the side we don't think he did, but we're kind of leaning on the side that it seems like the repercussions of their dispute are a little bit unbalanced.
Yeah,
that's-
the weighing on it is tough. I guess that's kind of more so the argument. Yeah.
If he
And
serves
honestly,
jail
it goes
time,
back to the question John had earlier: is how, as a man, how do you react to your significant other hitting you, assaulting you, abusing you? Like how, like, because because she was the aggressor. So far, in my opinion, it's fact. She was the aggressor. So I think he's in his right to defend himself, which he did. You could argue he did, but the argument's not standing, even though evidence is proving she was the abuser or the instigator. That's the word, instigator. So
I'll ask you a
I
question
just
then.
don't.
When
You said
she,
what?
I'll ask you guys a question. When she hit him, slapped him, scratched him, do you think she said, "Let me not use all my power and all my force"?
Oh, 100% no. She used all
No.
her power and all her force.
Now, if he was to return with all his power and all his force, I feel like when it comes to cases like this, don't get me wrong, domestic violence is domestic violence. So I'm not saying it should be gauged on how hard somebody hit each other. But the fact that the man has the capability of really putting harm on this girl, and for the outcome not to be that, I feel like there should be some type of
That should weigh something. That should hold some merit. Like he
exactly like
resisted. He resisted.
he actually is the only one who showed constraint.
Yes, I agree with that wholeheartedly.
Yeah, that's why I agreed, like I said, with the guest lawyer who said he should have not gotten the reckless assault charge. Because there was nothing reckless about it.
She should get reckless assault. She's the one who
Just
apparently
changed his
reacted with
life.
scratching and all that stuff, and it changed his life. Yeah, I just don't live in New York. Don't live in California.
As a New Yorker, I can second that. Somebody who lived in California, I can also second that.
All right, any last takes before we move on to the funny topic?
I
That
thought
I
this was
don't
the
know.
funny topic.
No, this one's funny. I don't think you guys have heard about this, so I'm actually excited to see y'all's reaction to this. So let's move on. Ready? Senate staffer is caught filming amateur gay pornography in hearing room as graphic video emerges.
Joke's on Eugene. I saw this shit this morning. Not the actual video, but the headline.
I've been actively trying not to watch this video. When this happened, because as y'all know, my Twitter feed is I follow nothing but political commentators, political news people, like politicians. Like I follow all of them. So obviously, when this first happened, since it's fucking Twitter, they don't have any good terms of service. They just let that video fly, and they were sharing like crazy. And I was doing my best not to see this video.
Like the full AAA rating, like fly, like they showed everything.
Yeah, you pretty much see everything. It's a full-on video, dude.
Question. Is this video you're talking about from the camera angle of the person recording it, or somebody catching the person recording the act? Like,
What do you think, John? What do you think?
I'm hoping it's somebody who caught somebody doing some gay shit and was like, "Oh, look, they doing gay shit." So they got caught. They got caught because of the background in the video.
So, Ian, if you could for me, real quick, Ian, if you scroll down.
Before you ruin it, Gene.
Play that video. Okay, before I ruin it. Wait.
It's like what video?
It's from the security cam in the place, right? That's what I thought it was. Because that's the picture I saw.
Oh, he was caught by security cam. It's not. No.
You no. Just watch the video. It's not security cam. Watch. Play it, Ian. It's 4 seconds. They don't show much.
Hold on. Let me check on YouTube.
I don't want to see the whole thing. It shows you a 4-second clip of the back shot. That was more than enough. 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 I don't want to see more. That was more than enough. We all know what's going on there. We all know that there's no security camera. If anything, that's a GoPro on the forehead.
John's face. Dude.
Staffer?
Oh my God.
Yeah.
He was Staffer, right? So wait. Who's Stafford? Whose staff is he on?
Well, here, let me read it. Let me read it, and let's start reacting.
Whose staff is he on? That's crazy. Pause. That's a crazy question to ask.
Do you really want to? Whose staff is he on? That sounds like an innuendo, bro.
I can't even ask.
It'll probably. I don't remember his name. It'll probably get.
He's definitely on somebody's staff.
Let me just read this, see if we can get to it. I don't remember the guy's actual staff he's on. A frisking congressional staff says.
First and foremost,
John's like, nah. John's like, I'll talk about this now.
We are not using the word staff anymore. We're done. We're gonna take this word. We're gonna throw it out. Okay.
Yeah.
We're just done using the word staff for the rest of this conversation.
What am I calling him?
I don't know. You gotta figure that out, my boy. You gotta freestyle that one because we just not using staff. Employee.
All right, got you. A frisky congressional man has been accused of filming an amateur gay porn video inside a Senate hearing room. The employee had sex with an unknown man within the confines of the politically significant building, according to the Daily Caller. A video obtained by the outlet shows the staffer allegedly engaging in sex acts within what appears to be a conference room in the Hart Senate office building. The staffer is seen in a separate picture, naked and on all fours on a table where senators often sit and ask questions during hearings. That's a tweet from someone. Footage of the explicit scene initially shows the staffer allegedly having sex with an unknown man. It then pans to show off the interior of the clearly identifiable Senate hearing room. A separate photo published by the Daily Caller shows the man on his hands and knees facing the camera while only wearing a jockstrap.
His face is in the picture, in the video.
I don't know. I haven't watched it. I told you I haven't watched it.
The horse part, the face is in the video.
That's what this is saying, yes.
The person's a fool.
100% in a private group for gay men in the political scene, of course. A public account.
That's like specific to that, like.
Of course, bro. A public account on X regularly shows the young man who identifies as a twink engaging in sex acts with his older bear partner. Bro, what are we doing? The images and videos are explicit in nature and contain his face, according to The Spectator. The congressman Mike Collins reacted to the video on social media and hit out at the actions. Okay, he's not the actual person. Okay, he's just.
See who turns this into Democratic versus Republican. Let's see who can do that first. Them gay ass Democrats. Let's see what happens. Go ahead.
Well, that's what he did. Mike Collins is on the conservative side. He said, "quote Heck of a week for the left. Gay porn in the Senate, swearing-in ceremony on child porn in Virginia, something tap dancers in the White House, and satanic statues in Ohio. What else am I missing?" That's what he said. So, and this particular staffer did work for a Democratic Senate.
I'm curious about the other things he just listed too. He listed some interesting things.
Oh yeah,
He
some
should have done.
wild stuff happened. Some wild stuff has been happening this week that we haven't really gotten to. Probably get to next week. But yeah, some wild stuff has been
Demonic
happening.
statue.
Yeah, you haven't heard about that?
What did he say about the child pornography?
Swearing in ceremony on child porn. So there was a certain elected official who was, when you get sworn in as an elected official, you know, you got to put your hand on the Bible and swear, "I do solemnly swear," blah, blah. Instead of the Bible, he swore on a lot of books that a lot of people on the right pretty much call it child porn because they had a lot of the imagery that is a little bit too vulgar for it to be educational.
Like, what books did they mention it?
I don't. Yeah, they did mention it. I don't. Not in this particular article, but they have mentioned it. You can actually see it in the video, but it's like a stack of books that conservatives don't like because it's very, one, vulgar, and two, the imagery is very descriptive, and like it's like this is way too much for a child book. Why didn't he swear in the Bible? Because either he's a. Why didn't he? You have a choice. Like, you have that choice, so he probably chose not to.
Because he's probably sworn on something.
Yeah, he swore in on those books, which is stupid. Like, do y'all understand why I have my opinion about government and politicians? Like, this is why I have my opinion. This is stupid. Like, it's a joke. It's a
could have sworn on a Vogue magazine if he really wanted to.
Yes, that's why this is stupid. Yeah.
I think the decision was there for people who are sworn in that aren't Christian, but he just pushed it.
It's stupid is what it is. But anyway, that's a different topic. We'll talk about it probably next or after the holidays, because it's something that's crazy and stupid in politics. But besides the point, this obviously, like you said, John, the narratives are going off. Obviously, the right people are saying, "Oh, look at the gays, degenerate gays," and the people on the left is like, it's love. All he was doing was just engaging in love.
Wait, hold on. The people on the left are defending it?
No, I don't think so. I think this is a solid L.
Is that what Gene is saying?
Yes.
Who on the left is defending it? Are you talking about a really minute
Let me be specific. Let me be specific. I'm not talking about the politicians. Obviously, the politicians are like vehemently like trying to speak out against this. I'm talking about the fringe people, because the people on the right also aren't sitting there trying to say the gay stuff. It's the fringe right and the fringe left who are being super emotional and reactionary to this. Because in my opinion, I bet you there are a bunch of heterosexual people that had sex in the Senate building also, and they're not recording it, or they have recorded it and it hasn't gained traction. I think all that kind of debauchery is going on, be it heterosexual or homosexual. But I'm just trying to give credence to your point about the right and the left coming out here and, of course, spewing their narratives. On the fringe right, gay, gay, gay. On the fringe left, love, love, love. It's nothing but love. Yes, that is going on. I don't know if it's a minority or a majority, but that is being said.
Maybe in the 80s there was hetero people doing that shit in the Congress Hall or whatever. I don't think in the common day heterosexual people are having sex in the Congress room because of the fear of this. Only somebody without the fear of being exposed, who would put their body on all fours and put their face in it, would not care. Like, so, like, how is that anyway, niggas gonna be niggas. That's the moral of the story. Two gay guys, a man and a woman, whatever, two men together, it's just a bunch of horniness, just a bunch of rubbish. And that's exactly what happened. And y'all took it to there. I don't know, like, it's not church. It's not like doing it in church, but like that's like the next step, if you ask me. Like, you're not far, my boy. Like, bro, that's gay as hell. I'm sorry, but that's gay. Them boys did it in the Congress Hall and then recorded it and then put their face on it. Said stamp that. And I bet you showed up for work the next day.
You got the other step. They did it in the Congress Hall. They recorded with their face in it and then sent it to a group chat to brag.
My group chat not set up like that, bro. We don't be sending, like, as a man with other men in my group chat, we don't be sending each other sex videos. Like, so like,
yo, John, check me out.
I
The
got
batch
her.
has
all
become-
Yeah,
years.
like, I got her in the Senate hall. Like,
I'm for the plan.
I got my
Put the law
stroke
down.
game.
And
Look
lay
at
the
me
law down.
laying. Look at me laying pipe.
Don't make me expose you, John.
Solemnly swear to get his bitch in the Congress Hall. Man, that's crazy.
yeah, I think from what I've heard from interactions with a lot of gay men is that their culture is totally different as far as like the way they treat sex and stuff with each other. So
It's just sex. It's
Yeah.
it's very much the men mentality. Most men view sex as nothing but taking a piss or a handshake. It's purely physical. Men don't view sex as this spiritual, emotional connection that women view it. So it makes sense that when gay men interact with sex, there's no big deal. That's why in a story I'm gonna share with John and I. We went with a friend of ours on her birthday to celebrate, and right next to the club we went to was a gay club. And when it reached the hours of everything closing down, you got to go home. Gay men started to leave the club. And John, would you like to remind everybody what it smelled like when they all started coming out of the club?
Smell like. You
Just
ever
say it, John.
like
Just say it.
you know the space between your ball sack and your thigh after a hot day?
I don't want to.
Like specifically like just ball sweat and ass sweat just combined. And I seen a dude come down the stairs and he was dressed like Kurt Angle. I'll never forget it. He had on the what is it called? The wrestling fit. He comes down the stairs, dick hard, pointed this way, pulls up his clothes and walks out. And walks in front of security.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
So I immediately started cussing Natalia out. I immediately started. I said, "Where the fuck do you have me at?
Yeah, I remember that too.
Where the fuck do you have me at? Why am I here? I would never." It's not even about being by the gay club or anything like that. Like, let them do whatever they're doing. But I didn't need to smell that, bro. I didn't need to have that. Like, I don't need to be able to recall that smell, but I can.
Yeah.
It's funny that smells the most powerful memory too.
Dog.
Yeah.
Dog, that is the gayest shit I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Because one thing I'd be curious about, it's kind of off topic a little bit, but because obviously, as we've just elaborated, with amongst gay men, sex isn't a problem. Like, you want a sex, I want a sex, let's go sex. I'm curious if it's like that with
Crazy
lesbian.
if that's that conversation too, by the way. But go ahead.
I can only
You
imagine
want
it's like
sex? I
that.
want
Like,
sex. Let's go sex.
well, imagine that from the story you said with the gay club. I'm pretty sure all those men down there were practically
Right.
having an orgy on the middle of the dance floor, and the way they were coming out of that club, one smelling and two dressed and trying to get redressed. You can only imagine what's going on. Anyway, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
I have spoken to one of my gay friends, and I remember because they were talking about dating a friend's ex or something like that. And for me, I was like, damn, it's gonna be kind of tough, you know. Like, you got to really think about like the person's situation and like their emotions that were invested and stuff like that. And they're like, no, amongst gay men, it's not really like taking another man away from another man. It's more like borrowing another man from another man. And so I was like, oh, okay. So they really are a lot more lenient when it comes to just kind of doing the deed and just going with it.
I believe it. I'm just curious to finish my point or question is, I wonder if that's the same thing amongst lesbian relationships. Like, do they still want to be courted and you got to build this emotional connection with me, or are they as loose with sex as the gay men are?
That's a good question, man.
Or men,
'cause
period. Let me not
I
say
mean,
men, just men.
well,
The-
if it's
the
the
opposite
opposite
role is-
direction, you
The
know what I mean?
opposite role is more exaggerated. So, for example, with the gay guy, this is just my opinion from what I've seen. The gay guy, the femme gay guy or whatever, the less masculine gay guy in the relationship, most of the time, I don't want to say most of the time, I don't know statistics. From what I've seen, is extra flamboyant, is extra. They have to show what role they are, if that makes sense.
Extra feminine.
Like,
How about that?
yeah, they're extra feminine, but they have to show like I'm a feminine gay guy versus a masculine gay guy. So that's
Sure.
their role. Whereas the opposite one with women, the female would just be a female. You probably wouldn't be able to tell she was a lesbian or not. Versus the stud or the dyke, which would be an exaggerated male role, like baggy clothes, the way they dress, stuff like that. So that's the way I see it. I think it's just flipped. I also don't think sex is you know what? That's actually crazy now you say it about it. Dyke girls be talking about sex a lot.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I was thinking that.
Yeah.
Like, did they get extra horny because they was like,
If I'm being honest with you, I've
I think
always
it would have
seen
been
it.
men.
Yeah, exactly. I've always seen it as an exaggeration of the caricature.
Yeah.
Because I've been around, I guess like butch lesbians, and like it's not even a thing that's being spoken about, and they'll bring it up and be like, "Yo, I smashed it last night," and I'm like, "Oh yeah, like okay, yeah."
I was like, what do you
But-
mean you smashed it? That's my question. Like, what do you mean you smashed it? Cause
Well, I mean, like they just bring it
No,
up. As like
yeah, no, I know what you
con-
mean. It's just if I was in them there, my
You'd be
response
like-
would be like, "What do you mean you smashed
Like,
it?"
Because technically, it's not
Exactly,
feasible.
exactly.
Get you.
Like, did you put a strap on or something? Like, what kind of tool did you
No.
use for this?
actually, that's the one action they actually are capable of is smashing it.
All right, we get.
Yeah, okay, we get it. Let's move on from this. We're good to
But I
Yeah,
do
that's-
wonder, like Gene said, is it if it's more of like an emotional thing? Because if the physical thing is more like the male, world, once it goes, femme, is it all just around the emotion aspect of it?
I don't know.
Yeah,
I would
They got
I would
nothing to do with
assume.
Congress.
I don't think they would do it in Congress. Maybe I don't know.
You know what's crazy? I think that's some gay shit to do. Period. Lesbian, gay, whatever. I think it's so exaggerated that it's so like, yeah. I don't know, but
I don't think necessarily say it's a gay thing to do is the. I just think it's completely degenerate, or the words I typically use and like to use, because obviously, as y'all know, my opinion, I think Congress politicians, they're all just corrupt as fuck, and this is, in my opinion, more evidence to the fact that Congress politicians are corrupt as fuck. Like,
don't get me
they have
wrong.
no, like John's talking about, like, this is a level below having sex in church. It's like, well, I don't think it's anywhere close to that. I just like, I don't. Go on, John. I don't want to.
I'm just saying, no matter how far the step is, the next step after church to me would be Congress. Like, like it just to me it would be. And then second off, I think that maybe I was wrong to say it's a gay thing to do, but it just seems like the exaggeration that tends to come with that, it would feed into something like this versus like, don't get me wrong, I love spontaneous activities
It's thrilling.
anywhere within reason, but like that was not within reason. It just wasn't.
I mean, the reason why I say it's not the gay thing is because I just think it comes down to, you said it and I made a joke, but I do mean it though. Is it just comes down to a lack of morals. I personally really firmly believe that it's a lack of morals. Like, we have a bunch of people who lack morals, or what's the term, amoral? Is amoral having no morals, or amoral being like evil morals, like really bad morals?
I want to
That's
say it's
interesting.
no morals.
One sense, no morals as well, because asexual is
Okay, that makes sense. So
No,
it's
'cause,
immoral then. So having
immoral,
bad morals
immoral,
would be
yeah, there you go.
immoral. Okay,
Yeah.
I think they're immoral. I don't think people have morals. I think they're immoral. They're either amoral or immoral. I think everyone in politics, from staffers all the way up to our elected officials, even the president, are a bunch of immoral, amoral people. And it's wild that we expect these people to hold themselves to this moralistic standard where they have none. And like I said, I'm trying to resist going on a rant, but it's just like, it's wild that we expect these people to have these morals where they're nowhere near it. They're not representative of the average American. Like, they're not.
why are so dark? Like, why are our politicians so dark? Like, they're so dark
Power.
and dirty and grimy and
Power. The worst people in the world congregate to power like moths to a flame. It makes sense to me. Over the years that we have been alive as a country, we started off with some, arguably, some people would argue, good men.
Arguably. I got why you said what you said.
And we've now gotten to a point where not so good men, in my opinion, have been running the.
Besides the whole slave on shit.
I gotta cover my bases, because at different times, man, different times.
You're good with me. You're good with me.
So it's inevitable. Like, it's just, and it's power. At the end of the day, politics, politicians, government is nothing but power. Who wants to wield power? Very evil people. Good people don't want to wield power. What do good people want to do? More often than not, and I could be wrong here, this is my opinion, more often than not, they want to be left alone. Let me just live my life and do things that good people do, which I personally think is create a family, build my personal relationships, and maintain those. That's good people.
The forefathers couldn't have been good.
You said the forefathers couldn't have been good?
Correct.
Well, they didn't want power; they wanted freedom.
Yeah, they wanted freedom, and I don't really want to argue that. It's because I don't want to argue that they were, they weren't. I don't know. It doesn't really matter. The point is that power.
I'm talking about just not the fuck the slavery shit. I was talking about with the power thing, but to your point, they wanted freedom. But I just feel like freedom and power, they can be one and the same, but they can veer off. So
yeah, because later in time, after like they established the nation, I think they were probably influenced by it then, because then they had to deal with ruling.
Well, from my understanding, a lot of them didn't want to be president. Like George Washington did not want to be the first president. He was forced to be the first president. And then same with the other presidents after him. A lot of them, because they were the original forefathers, a lot of them didn't want to be, but they were kind of forced to out of, I guess you could say, duty or responsibility. But that mentality of, I don't want to do this, but out of duty or responsibility, I will do this for my community. That is not a thing anymore. People don't join politics because they're duty bound. They do it because it's greed, power bound. I want this because the lucrative financial investment that will come from it, or I want to do it because the power I will have over my fellow man.
See, I agree, and I know this is a different conversation, but it's interesting to me. I agree, but I don't agree because none of the forefathers were poor. So, like, there has to be a direct link between their status and what they were able to accomplish. And yes, they wanted freedom from one party, but perspective-wise, if they didn't want that freedom for everybody, I'm not bringing it into it, but if they didn't want freedom for everybody, can we excuse that as a reason to say that, oh, they just did it for good reasons if they didn't technically do it for good reasons? So my question then is, if these politicians are fucking in Congress and then passing good laws, do we care anymore?
If they're passing good laws, which in my opinion they're not.
Yeah.
So
okay, no, because it's just interesting. Like, yeah, I would
like that's a good point. Honestly, like that would be a dilemma you'd have to grapple with. Is we have good laws, the economy is booming, foreign relations are great, like all this stuff is great, but our congressmen are fucking in the hearing rooms. Are we okay with that or not? Well, I'm saying pretty, so I don't care. The problem is that's not the case, and we don't have to grapple with that because that's not the case. And it kind of leans onto my perspective of, no, it's indicative of we got amoral, immoral people in office, which down trickles to why we have bad policies, down trickles to why the economy is the shit, down trickles to why foreign relations are terrible, why borders, like all this stuff. Anyway, again, I try not to rant.
No, you're fine, but I was actually thinking about Trump, not the current politicians. But I was actually thinking about Trump because people just didn't like him.
Well, okay, that's a fair point. I would agree. Trump is probably amoral or immoral. And the example I would use is the man shit on his wife while she was pregnant. That is wild. I probably would never let that go. That would always be my go-to example of Trump's immorality. That is a wild thing for a man to do to his wife, pregnant wife. So that's a fair example. My rebuttal to that, or my argument to that, would be he did that in his private life, not his political life. He didn't hold a position of power of representation when it came to a mass group of people. And I'm not saying that to excuse him. I'm trying to say that he didn't join office to be immoral. he was already immoral, trying to seek, arguably, whether you believe this or not, I don't know, but to seek retribution through public service. So maybe that's better. Maybe, I don't know. I don't really want to make the argument, but
we can talk about this too, because I'm still got. I kind of want to. I know the time is over, but I kind of want to talk about this a little bit more. But no, yeah. I get what you're saying, because I would have to position him as the same as the forefathers then, because there's something they're doing that's immoral, but I guess for the greater consensus or the greater good of their public or whatever they're picking to defend, yeah, they did good by them, but it's like, essentially, are these bad people doing good things for a certain group, or is this good people
I feel like
doing
Trump is
good
like
things?
a weird anomaly though, because he like I don't think he ascended to presidency morally. I don't think he did it with the intention to help people. I think he did it with the intention of fulfilling his own ego.
Okay.
But I think he's such a people pleaser when it comes to like crowds that he inadvertently like helped in a weird way, if that makes any sense.
I can agree to that. Like,
like
basically, I can agree to that. Doc's point. That's a fair point that I kind of agree with.
At least when the news cycles, from what I saw, when it came to Americans, like whenever like they approached him, he always like said yes. He was like a yes man, in my opinion. At least domestically, like from the stuff I saw. Like
Yeah.
obviously internationally, he was a no man. But like I remember seeing on TV, it's like, oh, this particular group approached him. He gave them money. This particular group approached him. He said yes, and he signed the documents, and he like vetoed for these people and stuff like that. But I honestly think that came not out of him wanting to help people. I think that came out of him wanting to maintain his power.
I disagree with that one. I think that's where you take the leap.
Where you think he genuinely wanted to help those individuals?
No, where he did it to maintain power. I think that's when you take the leap. I think
Well,
the leap is Trump did this because he wanted some power. What power? The dude was a millionaire. He already had power. I don't think Trump did this at all for any kind of power. I think he did this
disagree with
fair.
that.
but the leader of the free nation, that's a bit of a title and that's a glory.
Yeah,
I
he
think
wanted to
he
be the most
Yes,
powerful man on earth.
boom, there. But it's for ego, not power's sake. I don't think he did it because he wanted it for be power. I think he did it for an ego play. The ego play was
I don't think you can disconnect the two, ego and power.
Yeah, I
well. The
agree
reason
with
why
that.
I mean, that's fair point. But the reason why
I'm
I'm
listening.
disconnecting it is because the opportunities he had to abuse his power, he never did.
It's not true.
Yes, it is true.
There's ways that every president has abused their power.
Okay, well,
We're not.
Well, then tell me some examples then, because the examples I were using is anytime he could have called the National Guard in several riding situations. One big one, for example, is the insurrection. He didn't do it. He never
So you don't think
The
there's
only
any
time,
way
the
Trump
only
used his position as influence and power for personal gain?
I
I
guess
think
I
he
can
had
understand
to.
the
I think
degree.
he had to have leaned it on people
Because you're not going to say
before.
Obama did it and then Trump didn't do it and then
Well,
Biden did it.
I have to understand to the extent of the personal gain, because when you say personal gain, I immediately go to finances, which I don't think he did. Whereas I do think every other politician office have done. So I want to understand what do you mean by did him personally?
I think
Branding.
he did
I'd
it
say
to
sure, because obviously like it makes sense.
Branding.
Like,
branding,
okay,
and I think he
then
did it to
yes,
solidify
yes,
influence.
He sold
yes.
plates.
Sure, then yes. In that regard, yes.
I think it
But
was a marketing strategy.
is that wrong? I don't know. Maybe because
I
he
don't know.
didn't exactly like because it wasn't to the extent of what other people have done in the past. Biden, Obama, Bush, Clinton, like all of them. It's not the same. It's similar, sure, but it's not the same.
I feel like it's the opposite. I feel like those other parties don't have the money, but they have the influence, and so they're working with the influence to get the money. But I think Trump was doing it in reverse because he had the money, and I think he was
But he
using
didn't.
that to get the influence.
You know what
Yeah.
Trump said prior to, he wanted his family to be remembered like the Rothschilds, the Rockefellers. So he wanted a family in America. He wanted to be the family in America.
Yeah.
So I feel like even though we're having this conversation, I feel like there's a whole bigger conversation that none of us know what the
100%.
fuck's going on. You know what I'm saying? Like the super, super wealthy people, like there's a level of influence that they're fighting over that we have no idea what it even touches or controls.
I agree with that.
Honestly, it's not like even when he got the presidency and like his last name being Trump and him leading the most capitalistic nation and it being the Trump, and I was like, I was like, damn, that's yeah. If I was like that egotistical, like I would go for it too, because it's just the name rolls off the tongue. It means supremacy, and like, yeah, just go with it.
Nice and catchy. I
Yeah,
had trumpeters with me everywhere.
I would have made cards that say Trump and just passed them out. I use a Trump card. There you go.
Oh,
Would've been
my
that cheesy
Trump
bastard.
card. Oh, my Trump card. He
Yeah.
missed out on some. Yeah. And then
2024 is
when the
coming
whole
up,
grab
bro.
her by
We
the
don't know.
pussy,
We could get a
Yeah.
bunch of
Yeah.
stuff for the next couple years.
when the grab her by the pussy thing came out, you know what my first thing I would have did was after that? At my next press conference, I'm bringing out 7 dancers. They walking out with me. And we all
Bumping and
on
grinding.
stage.
What?
People gonna love. You just gotta. I feel like when Trump found out who his constituency is, like who is the people that support him no matter what, he's like, fuck it, I'm leaning with you guys. Like, it's just me and y'all. Fuck everybody else. It's just me and y'all. I don't blame it. If y'all gonna keep me in office, I don't blame him. I do have an errand to run.
But that's what I'm saying. I think he did it just like I think he helped a lot of people out of just the need to keep that that voter group where he was just like, okay, yeah, anything you want, come in. Yeah, you're an American. Yeah, here you go.
It's not getting too deep.
Yeah, as long as you didn't identify as left, like you were like all greens go.
Because honestly, one thing I'll agree in my last statement about Trump is I wouldn't put it past Trump if he was decided to become a career politician. He wouldn't inevitably become the next Chuck Schumer, the next Pelosi, the next Bush in leads of corruption, like utilizing this power and influence you've garnered and gained for some kind of personal stuff. I honestly, I admit, I wouldn't put it past Trump. I really wouldn't, because absolute power, or power corrupts absolutely. That's the phrase, right? And the way Trump has been when it comes to the private sector with his businesses, I can't argue and say he wouldn't do that. I can't. It's just fortunately when he was in office in the beginning stages, he wanted to do a lot of things that were, in my opinion, good. And we needed to capitalize on that. It's just the things he wanted to do were good, were counterintuitive to the things that the other corrupt politicians wanted to do. So they had a big internal civil war going on, still are. And like John said, we don't know what's going on behind the scene.
Yeah,
We're benefiting.
he definitely pulled way too
Now-
much aggro.
Now they're all gonna snitch on each other because of
Yeah.
Trump. They're literally all snitching on him. Every person, every president that gets elected from now on is gonna be really, son. You embezzle what? I'm snitching. That's exactly what's going on right now. Biden, I dare Biden to run again. I dare Biden to run again. He won't make it. He won't make it. He get impeached. Oh, dumbass. All that. Sorry. Go ahead.
I'm right
I
there with you.
definitely-
Keep going.
I definitely think Trump pulled too much aggro, and just the aggro itself caused dissent amongst everybody else. I don't know if he's good to be the president again. Honestly, I kind of just wish that there was like a good president, like just somebody who was a valid candidate that was sane and had decent policies and stuff like that.
Vivek
Was fucking
Ramaswamy. I stand Vivek Ramaswamy. I think he would be a great president, but he's too fresh. Unfortunately, to make it all the way to the end. He's just too fresh. He's never been.
By the time he gets there, he ain't gonna be fresh no more.
Oh, he's already, I think, getting a little bit corrupted. Not like corrupt isn't bad. I mean, like the way he's been dealing with the narrative from the media from both sides, Republicans and Democrats. I think it's weighing on him. The dude is taking all kinds of abuse. But I can support Doc. It's kind of unfortunate that we've never had a good president in the past like decades. And if anything, it gives credence to what Doc said. These people in power had influence but no money, and Trump had money but no influence. And we literally saw that battle during Trump's entire presidency from 2016 to 2020. Even to now, every single politician utilized their influence to manipulate everyone to think Trump is this terrible, evil person who's going to be the next Hitler. How daft do you have to be to actually believe that? And then Trump tried to use his money to fight against it and say, I'm not that bad. These people are the evil ones. Just give me a shot.
It's even happening, I think, again, because now they're
And I'm
trying
simplifying
to.
it. And to be fair, I'm heavily simplifying it, but that's basically what's been going on.
I agree. No, I actually think that's the essence of it, because it's like even now their character assassinating him and hoping that the law keeps him from being able to run, but he's still going out there and
Trump,
trying to use his money to rally influence to try to go
don't
back
need.
in.
Wait, let me say something. Trump's first, Trump's only term, I actually enjoyed as far as financially and all the stuff that was going on. Like it was a good space. Trump on his revenge tour, I'm not here for it, brother. Like I said, I was cool with Trump being president. Not again. not
That's a
not
good
with that
point,
malice in his
actually.
heart.
If he gets back into it,
No.
he's
Mm-mm.
probably gonna lay it down.
I
Oh,
hope he
man.
does. If he gets in, I hope he does. I hope he goes
But
scorched
then,
earth.
but then you see, but then you have to hope that his targets align with yours.
Yeah,
And that's not something I'm
Nope.
comfortable with.
Nope. I hope he goes after Republicans and Democrats alike.
But
I
what if
hope he
the
completely
people
cuts them
suffer
down.
because of it?
yeah, that's
We
kind of
are.
what I'm thinking about.
Technically we are. We're gonna.
But it's
I'm
it's
gonna take
just
it to the extreme. We're all right now. What we're arguing about is the extreme. So I'm gonna entertain the
right.
extreme. Yes, when you topple the government, you leave an open hole that needs to be filled by something, and we're not sure what that void is going to be filled by. I think it's an unfortunate thing we have to do. Otherwise, this issue that is our
Do we
government
have
will
the
never
system
be
set up to
fixed.
rebuild? Do we know if the system set up to rebuild is even
Yes, we do.
good?
So
It
let it.
didn't work the
Let.
first time.
What are you talking about?
Okay, so we topple the government, which I'm totally here for. We topple the government. How do we start over?
Local.
Equal votes. So we basically start with corruption on a small level, and then we end up with the same result.
Honestly, I don't know the answer to
The
you.
system isn't set up to reset for real. It
No.
was set up to reset. The system was set up to reset. What is the word I'm thinking of? Like not
We
romanticize,
don't
but like
know if the system was set up to reset because the Constitution actually has certain avenues for reset. It's called a constitutional convention. It's when the states come
correct.
together, vote 3/4 or whatever it is, and you're able to make really like
Has it ever
constitutional
happened?
amendments because you can't. It's hard to get them all to come together. But there is this. I guess you could call it a safety, whatever the term
No
is.
safe.
Thank you. Technically speaking, you could call it a fail safe. But to your point, we've never actually done it because it's difficult to do. There
That's what I'm
is a
saying.
way
So
to
my
do it.
problem is I don't think that it I think idealistically, boom, that's the word I was looking for.
Sure.
I feel
Yes,
like,
it is.
yes, on paper, they were like, okay, if this happens, we can do this. But it never got tested out for them to know if it would work. And now there's
Sure.
way more context to the world than there used to be. Things are way less simple than they used to be as far
Sure.
as social interactions and
Sure.
political interactions. So
Sure.
now, if we reset it, I'm not sure if based on those old ideals, the reset is big enough to encompass everything and handle it the proper way. Like, I think
I
from
think we
the
have to at least
onset,
try, in my opinion. Like I understand, like it might not be good. It might be bad. It might be good. We generally don't know. My
we do
perspective
have to
is
try.
we have
I
to at
agree.
least try because right now the
I
way we're
agree with that.
going, it's not working and it's leading to worse shit. So
I agree.
fuck it, start over. Either we make it or we don't. Let's at least try. That's my perspective. That's my
America,
perspective.
the third world country, that would be crazy.
If that's the path we have to take to not fully destroy ourselves, it is what it is. Like if we got to regress a little bit to eventually get over this hump we're currently at, like let's say we're leveling up, we get to level 200 and whatever year we've been alive, but we can't get over the hump, the next level of 300. We got to go back down to level 100 to eventually find, okay, now we fix this, now let's get to level 300 and 400, blah blah blah. We got to do it. Like sometimes we have to stay back, take steps back to go forward, and we refuse to take those step backs, and that's my issue.
I think
Let's
the hard
take a
part-
step back.
Readdress
Let's
the
I
fix
think the
that.
hard part though is that not everybody's level 200 looks the same. Like
Sure.
you want
sure.
to build a country in your skill tree, and then everybody else wants to build it their skill tree ways, and that's the hard part.
50 states. That's why we have 50 states. Every
Well,
single
we'd
state's
actually have
going
to
to do
start back
something
at
different.
zero.
Goes back to what I said to Doc a long time ago. Move to the state that best represents you. Hopefully,
I agree with that. That right there, I agree with. But we'd actually have to restart at zero because you can't start with anything already existing. So we actually have to address the Constitution itself.
Yes, 100%. Yeah.
How would we even
That's a
go
hard
about
argument.
addressing the Constitution?
I mean, some people live and die by those laws. Well, a lot of people have lived and died by those laws. But I mean, that's that's the hard part about it, man.
Not with the history joke.
Yeah, I kind of, you know what? I don't really know too much to actually answer this question. I was gonna say, I lean towards the Constitution being good, but if I'm being honest, I only know like 4 of the amendments.
Yeah. I'm the same way, so. No soldier can't just move into my crib.
Yeah, I know that. I know you can bear arms.
that
You can
much.
say what you want. Nobody can just move in.
Move
You
into my
can't
crib.
you can't be tortured, cruel, and
Or religiously
unusually.
persecuted.
Hey, y'all say that, but I think y'all got to look at what's going on around the country, because every single constitution y'all just mentioned is being, if not actively trampled on, trying to trample on it.
You moving soldiers into people's cribs?
I mean, we're on war times yet, but we're looking like it. I 100% believe if we reach World War III, like everyone's conspiratized we're heading towards, I 100% think, in my biased mind, in my conspiratorial mind, the government will have no problem saying, nah, soldiers, we need your home, we need your food, we need your water, we need your shelter. 100%. I wouldn't put it past them. Wouldn't put it past them. They're trying right now.
I think that's where my line is drawn, because I can't be like pro constitutional convention or whatever it is, and then think that Americans are also going to just let the military just be in their cribs. Like, I don't think both can exist. I think I have to rock with y'all niggas moving in our cribs. Okay, now it's time. Like, y'all, that is the most, out of any constitutional law or whatever, that is the most disrespectful one to break. That's like we broke all the rest of them and we're coming back to just shit on you. So soldier in your crib. Like, soldier in my crib eating groceries? I can't get in the shower because the nigga. Nah, bro. Nah, bro. He's gonna be a dead soldier. He's gonna be a dead soldier. I swear to God. What?
That's the day
That
John became an
law?
anarchist.
What?
Being a
I go
revolutionary.
the day
the day.
I walk into the kitchen and he in a towel eating my cereal I'm reading Moncoff. I'm going there. I'm going there because he is tripping. What? Soldier in my crib? No, I don't think that'll get that far.
I pray it doesn't. Again, I'm the more nihilistic, neurotic than all y'all, but I pray it doesn't, because you're right. John's right. If that starts happening, people are gonna snap.
I pray it doesn't too, and I'll be okay with losing my life over some shit like that. That's one thing they got me fucked up with. It's certain things I'm okay with putting my life on the line for. My crib, 100%, 100%. Me and God will have that discussion when that time comes.
But it goes to your point. That's why the forefathers fought, because England was trying to trample on their colonies. They're trying to come over and tell them what they can and can't do in their colonies, and the
Same way they
forefathers
were doing it to slaves. That's why I said perspective-wise, it's like, are they great people or are they just people who were great to a certain group and we're kind of looking past the, and I'm not even saying it like, oh, they're evil because of slavery or whatever. I'm literally saying, like, you can't be just here and then turn the blind side here and then be given the credit for the just and not the thing. It's full, it's all encompassing.
It's two sides. Like the point I said a week ago, if you want to be a hero, you got to accept that you're also the villain.
Oh, my boy. My boy.
So if you're the villain,
and you know who won't be a villain? Johnathan Majors.
Yeah, because most villains want to do something for the greater good, right? Let's use Thanos as the example. I'm going to wipe out the entire half population just so that we don't use all of our resources. Everyone lives a better life.
That's not why he did it.
He did it for good, but he did it through evil actions. That's not why he did it in the
comic books.
Yeah, I know it's not. I know it's not. Love. He did it over a woman for love. Yes. Yeah. But I'm talking about the cinematic Marvel universe, not
I
the.
agree. I agree. I just had to educate.
Yeah.
I agree.
Well, what's that line? The villain's often the hero of his own story.
Yes.
Yeah. Damn.
So yeah, I 100% believe in that phrasing. If you're a hero, you're also a villain. If you're a villain, you're also a hero. It just comes down to which perspective.
Deadpool?
I don't think Deadpool is a woman, but I think Deadpool did have a little bit of a fun time with her. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's like a parody because his woman was just literally like death, like the actual personification of death.
Yeah.
So it makes sense.
Deadpool can't die, so obviously he's able to.
Infatuation.
Exactly. Fun fact. Us exposing our
We just
nerdom.
nerded out a little bit.
Yeah, I'm about to say 100%. So I think that's a good point to close it out. Thank you all for tuning in to Fake Deep Think and listen to our rants and talk about some wild degeneracy going on and some injustice when it comes to the courts and the sexes. We need some justice. I demand justice, equal opportunity. Anyway.
So would you call the Senate now the Sexnet?
Hey. Ba-bum. Ian, where's the sound effect? Ba-bum.
Maybe was banging that gavel.
Hey.
Oh,
That's funny. John just put something he probably should have put on stream. So let's end it. Thank y'all for tuning in. If you haven't hit that like button, hit that like button. If you haven't leave a comment. Let us know your opinion. We love the discourse. Please share it. Let's get more people in here. We'll see y'all next time on Fake Deep Thinking. We'll be gone for the holidays for a little bit, so we probably won't see y'all next week. What's the week after that? Next week is Christmas. Next week is also New Year's, so we probably won't see y'all for 2 weeks.
Boy, if you don't get
I'm off from the 21st to the 2nd of January.
All right. Well, we'll see if we can probably put some episodes in because I'll be here. It sounds like John will be there. I don't know about Doc, but more often than not, we might not be here. So if you see us, awesome. If you don't, it's the holidays. Don't blame us. Peace out.
Peace,
Yo, thanks for making it to the end. We really appreciate it and hope you all enjoyed the show.
Make sure you hit that subscribe button, that like button, and the notification bell to get notified when we post our clips.
Follow us on Twitter at PodcastFDT. Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok are all Fake Deep Thinking. Check us out, please.
FDT. Peace, y'all.
Peace.